I know.
Oh no. Hello, I think. I think we're live.
Woo! We're live.
Woohoo. We're live. I learned, well, last week you were still allowed to say Happy New Year, and I don't know what's the case for this week, but I feel we can still say this Happy New Year because
Yeah.
we haven't had this online yet. So Happy New Year, Brad.
Happy New Year, Nella.
Yay. And I found it funny because before we went online, we were talking about holiday projects, and you are in the situation that you can't find your holiday project on your machine.
I can't
It's
find it on
like,
my machine, but it's on the internet. I'm like kind of tired, and I can't think of a good way to look for it. Um,
so you potentially need to know the name that you gave it initially, right? Like the
yeah, because I genuinely I don't know where I would have put it because I'm in the folder where I keep my projects, but whatever. Uh, it is a mystery to me.
well, I can tell you what the name of my project is. Maybe that helps you to find yours, and then you can also guess what I've built over the holidays. So my project is called Espresso Matinal, and Matinal in terms of vinyl.
Wait, what's
Vinyl.
vinyl? What's vinyl? Oh, vinyl, vinyl.
Vinyl, yeah. Sorry, my
Yeah, yeah.
pronunciation. Yeah, espresso mat vinyl then. That's the name. That's the that's the given name.
Wait, espresso is supposed to be a reference
It's a
to
reference to espresso martini.
oh, okay. Oh, I thought it was espresso, like the Sabrina Carpenter song.
No.
No? Oh,
No. No. It's more like the cocktail, but yeah, it has nothing to do with cocktails, but it has to do with my vinyl collection. So
okay. You go ahead. Maybe if I
I
take a break
go.
and try to find my project, I'll find it later. Uh, tell us about this project you were working on.
Oh yeah, I got super excited. Oh well, let's bring both up of us back before I share my screen. I get excited because my roommate and we both collect vinyls, and we have so many now that we lose. Like we basically don't know who owns which vinyl anymore, and this needs to be changed. So I decided let's do a database where we can, store who owns which vinyl, and then I was like looking into other APIs that you can even get song informations, right? So once you have the track list from your vinyl, what if you go then to Spotify to get additional information, store that information in a database, and then based on that information, you can filter the database to have maybe songs in the same style or songs in the same speed or whatever. Like you can do a lot of things and then have your playlists for your living room, basically. So that was the idea, and I looked into Discogs as an API for getting the information of the vinyl. How do I say it correctly? Vinyl,
Vinyl.
vinyl of the vinyl, and then
Wait, when you say Discogs, is that a Spotify API or is that just a different
no,
API?
Discogs is a marketplace for vinyls. Basically, it has also an
Uh,
API endpoint, and it collects all information about basically the releases.
oh,
So once something has been, I think also CD even, but once something has been on album has been released, you will have that release on Discogs, and you can also use Discogs already to have your own collection. Like you can use the app to say, oh, this is all the things I own, and this is what I want to buy in the future, basically. And people
mhm.
can also sell stuff there and buy. Like if you have something like a vinyl you don't want to have anymore, maybe you find someone on the platform who would happily take it. The database already there is huge, but it doesn't provide information on single songs, and that's where
Yeah,
Spotify comes in.
okay.
And I didn't get really super far, but yeah, I show you now. I go here for Fiberplan Studio. So the first thing I started is you need the owner, you need the artist, and you need the release title. So here, this is basically working already, as you can see as an endpoint. And it's, yeah, I mean, mainly I was going through a lot of JSON during my holidays because you get back more than only this one entry, because you get back like maybe, I don't know, depending on the artist and name, there are more releases and you have to pick the right one. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's easier because you can also look by barcode, but not all vinyl not all vinyls have barcodes. That makes it more complicated. So, I found it more complicated. But yeah, here you see nicely, or I think it's nicely, that we first look here for, basically we do a search on the Discogs API, and then from that search we take one entry and take the master ID, and then we use this master ID to extract any further information, and then we store the information in a Neon database, and I mean, should be there now. I mean, there's something missing with the label, but yeah, that's all the information that we have here for the information for this vinyl already. And then we have here this track list, which, yeah, in this format is not super important, but the idea of mine was what's like going further, like extract this track list, and for each track also store the information from the song. And basically, I don't know how you start your project. I got excited once I found out that there is a Discogs API and that there is a Spotify API. And I looked through the Spotify API and I see what the potential outcome of a certain response can be. So I started implementing. And now we come to well, they are not connected yet. But now if you do the Spotify call, well, what do you see?
Forbidden.
Yeah. So I implemented the token I got the token from my Spotify API. I did the search and I found also multiple entries for that specific song with two artists. Basically, the artists are Farafi and Tiger Balm, and the song is Nina, and it has, I think, 3 entries, which is not good because you want to find the right one, especially when it is a track. So yeah. Sorry, it's like also the markets, but yeah, the thing. And then once you have one track and the number, I found that already in my research that you do the audio feature call to the Spotify API. And this potentially should give you back, information about the BPM, about the danceability, about the mood,
danceability.
The danceability, yes.
Is that a Boolean or is that a scale?
No, it's a scale. It's like a number. And the higher the number, the better you can dance to it. Apparently. Yeah. But then, I missed a thing. I missed in the Spotify documentation the deprecated flag. And then I did further research. I even put something in the Spotify forum for developers. And I found this entry here, changes to the web API from November.
November.
Yeah, late November. And there is this blog post announcing it, basically. And you see there are a lot of people. And I mean, I read those replies. And basically what happens is everyone who was still in development, they got this 403 back, or any other error that they cannot work with this endpoint anymore. Everything that is in production is untouched. But if you have been developing something, you had a problem after this date. And I think a lot of people were at the point where they was almost finishing the application. They showed up the next day on their computer. They wanted to work on the application, and they got back this weird 403, and they were like, what's going on? What's going wrong? So I think there was no real warning, so to say, that this is happening. Yeah. So I've never seen a forum post with so many replies to it.
Yeah.
And now
those are spicy. I bet that forum post gets a little heated.
Yeah, it gets heated. I mean, completely. But yeah, now I'm looking for an alternative to still get the information. Funnily enough, there is a website that has the information from the Spotify API, so you can maybe potentially now scrape that website to get the same information. But it feels so odd because, yeah, I would prefer to work with an API instead of scrapping a web page. I don't know.
No. There are, I think there's a lot of tools that scrape web pages and turn them into APIs. I think one, Firecrawl, is one that comes to mind. And I think there's a handful. Like there's a lot that do that right now. So you could do something that like automatically generates an API from that site. I don't know.
From that site, yeah. I mean, I think there were, I posted on Blue Sky, and Lau mentioned an alternative. I haven't looked into it, but I will. So there is an alternative that but I think then you need to provide the audio file to that API, and then the audio gets the gets the information, but that means you need to store eventually audio files with you. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, that seems a pretty classic case of like project spiraling once that API wasn't available.
Yeah, it's also very frustrating to find out, but yeah, I mean, imagine it was there and all the information was there, and now it's not. Just like,
Ugh. That stinks. I had speaking of like kind of opaque documentation, I did like 1.5 projects over the break. The one that I didn't really finish was okay. So I traveled to the US and I was jet lagged, and then in the early mornings during my jet lag, I would work on stuff. And so this one, my schedule adjusted before I made any more progress on it. But I was looking into getting off of Adobe Lightroom, which is a application for photographers. So I store all my photos there, do all my edits there, and I was thinking I haven't used it as much lately, and I was like, oh, it's kind of expensive. Maybe I should look into getting off it. Thing is, I have thousands of photos, like almost a terabyte of photos. Not almost a terabyte, like 300, 400 gigabytes of photos.
and they are all stored in the cloud of
all stored in
Adobe?
their cloud. Yeah, all
Okay.
stored in the cloud. And so I was thinking of, I was like, oh, they probably have an export. No, they don't. And so if you want to preserve your album structure, which is what I really wanted, then you would have to manually export every single album, which I have a lot of albums. So that was kind of a no-go for me. And I was like, all right, what do they like? They don't export with album structure. I don't even know if they do a full export. I don't think they do. And so like, what tools are at my disposal? I was like, oh, they have an API. So it would have been possible to like mirror my album structure into like a blob storage solution of some kind, which would have been interesting. But I basically just spent one morning trying to figure out how to authenticate with their API, and then didn't get to work on it much more after that. But I thought that was an interesting project, but I probably won't pick it up anytime soon.
So was the authentication so hard, or like because you said
their developer docs were like not great, and so and like code samples were kind of out of date in different spots, and it wasn't super clear. Yeah, necessarily how to get it working. So yeah, that was a little frustrating because I just don't think they don't have a lot of developers building on top of Lightroom and stuff like that. So yeah, it would have been a very good honk app though. Like kind of well suited to this. Like I don't need much UI. I need to like authenticate with this app, tell it I'm an Adobe user, and then I want it to start syncing all of my photos to an external store. That was kind of my hope.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I also feel like if you have tools where it's super cool that you have an API, but they are not developer centric in terms maybe they have a different product as a main thing, often there's a lag when it comes to the API documentation, although they offer one. So it's sometimes a wild west thing.
However, the one thing I did get done, I found it. I found the code base.
What was the name? How did you find it?
It was called Hallmark Honk, I think, something like that. I'm gonna see.
Honk. Okay.
And okay, so the other project was for the holidays, for Christmas. Do you share? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I need to.
Woohoo! Honk. Whoop. Honk the halls. Okay. My family loves watching very cheesy Christmas movies that tend to all have roughly the same plot and have low budgets, and we think it's kind of fun. So I wrote a little app that allows you to just come up with your own movie idea, and uses an LLM under the hood to like create the pitch for the movie. So I don't know if you have any sort of suggestion for a rough plot. It can even be something like socks or just like a single word.
A single word.
Or it could be something more,
Can it be the broken Spotify API or the deprecated Spotify API?
Wait, what?
The deprecated Spotify API.
Deprecated Spotify API. And
I'm not sure if that.
Yeah, incorporate a goose somehow. okay, main conflict is a deprecated Spotify API, incorporated Goose somehow. That's good. All right.
Okay.
Okay, so this is it. The title of the movie is A Foul Christmas Melody.
Okay.
A struggling music therapist uses a deprecated Spotify API to create personalized holiday playlists for her patients. But when the API is shut down, she must find a new way to bring joy to those around her. With the help of a handsome tech expert and a mischievous goose that keeps escaping from the local park, she discovers the true meaning of music and love during the holiday season.
Oh my God. I would watch that movie.
Oh my God. Yeah, so we had and part of the reason I wrote this is that as like a family, we ended up not doing it. But I thought it'd be funny if everyone in the family came up with their own movie ideas, and then we tried to pitch our movie ideas on Christmas, and then voted on which ones were the best. And we totally forgot to do it because we were sleepy and full of food. But yeah, that was the generator. Okay, let's go to Hallmark Honk. So the project here. Yep.
It would be also funny if you take some of the ones that exist, like real movies, and like create some of those, and then people have to guess which ones are made up by AI and which ones really exist.
Yeah, that would be super good. Oh man, that's a really good next step for that. I should do that next holiday season, which is like, can you tell if this movie plot is generated by an AI or not? Oh, that's a really good idea. I wish we would have talked about this before the holidays. It would have been kind of fun to do a holiday themed hackathon at some point.
Maybe we can do something for Easter. Well, that's the next holiday that comes up.
Easter movies. I don't think there are many Easter movies, unfortunately. Okay, you know what I'm realizing? I don't think I was going to show how to connect to a production database, and I didn't set that up for this because wait. That kind of defeats the purpose. And it would kind of just be annoying and boring to watch me do this on the stream. Trying to think on my feet here.
But wait, what database did you use initially, or what are you using a Neon database, or?
I'm using D1.
D1, okay. That's more complicated.
Yeah, so let's see here. Okay. This was very two kind of newer things for me that I used. One was I used Together AI, which is just an AI model hosting kind of thing. They do a lot of research as well. And I found it pretty snappy, pretty easy to get going. And I used which model? Do I have it here? Yeah. There we go. There's my prompt. Llama 3.370B, which I think one of our hackathon participants also used. It's pretty good and very fast.
Is it new, right? It's new, right? Relatively.
Yeah, early December. It was kind of the latest iteration. It's like considered to be better than the 405 billion parameter model by Llama, which is good because no one really hosts that or wants to host that for you, and it's very expensive. Yeah, Together had some. So I wanted to like stream the responses, which if you look here. So let's get another Christmas movie idea. I'm gonna go llama. I'm just gonna say llama, duck,
goose,
llama, duck. I don't know why. All right. So this one, if you saw it, streamed everything, and we might as well read it. Okay. After inheriting a quirky farm, a lovable but mischievous llama, and a charming duck, big city event planner must learn to balance her high-stress job with the joys of small-town life and the magic of Christmas, all while falling for the handsome and kind-hearted farmhand who helps her care for the animals. Pretty basic. But I like that the llama is mischievous and the duck is charming. Right. So that whole thing where it just streams the response in, I just used some typical Hono helpers for streaming, which right here. So Hono/streaming, I imported stream text, and that's what I return for the response. down here. Oh, I added this heading. It was in the Hono docs to add this specific content encoding heading when running your worker with Wrangler to make it work. And all I had to do after that is take this response from together, so which should be a stream. So I pass stream true right here, and then you need this special stop token that is all in the together docs. And then as the stream comes in, all these chunks right here, I just write it to the stream that we're returning from the Hono helper, and then it just works. And then taking inspiration from one of Nella's blog posts, I have this bit right here. This is a wait until. So in Cloudflare, you can specify certain pieces of code that will run after your handler returns so that your handler can return as quickly as possible, but you can do some background work before the worker possibly shuts down. And in this case, I just, it's very handy. It was Nella wrote a whole thing on it. And in this case, I just insert the movie idea into the database because I was kind of curious. I just wanted to see like what kind of movie ideas people were getting, because I sent this to a bunch of friends. So I wanted like a record of everything that they had generated.
Have you looked into it yet or not?
I think so, but not for a while. Not since I sent it out to some new people. So this might not be super readable because, well, let's see.
Because this isn't the D1, I guess, right? Or it should be in the D1 somewhere.
Why didn't that work? /API. Oh, not together. API/movies. Wait, I forgot it. API/movie ideas. Oh wait, pretty print.
There we go.
And let's see here. We can. Okay.
There are hours. Let's see, hours are the last. Rain. Yep. Rain, a very classical prompt.
Yep. Oh, a lot with like big city event planner is sent to a small town, which is pretty on brand. Family craziness, crazy family craziness. Man, someone really went for him. Santa Elf Grinch. I'm trying to look for one that might be snow. Oh, yeah.
But that's fun.
Yeah. So that was my product. I do really like your idea. I'm going to stop sharing. There. I like your idea to have some sort of comparison of like, was this written by AI or not? For movie ideas.
That could be, yeah, I think that could be a next step. Or I don't know, we could make a quiz out of it, I guess, easily.
Yeah. Actually, like I don't know if I'm just way too into it. I like that as an idea for a sample app of get a bunch of movie synopses and then people vote.
Also, and okay, and you vote and you can score a point or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
Or even you store the vote so you can see how good a description, like, how many people would say something is generated or not generated. That would be also fun to see, You
could even do it with like music lyrics or things like that.
30% of people thinks that is not generated by AI and 70 thinks it's generated by AI, and then
that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be super fun.
And there will be an outcome. Oh my god, yeah. I think that has been fun. I mean, I keep continuing on my application. I think if I find a replacement and then I find at one point a front end that flies around somewhere, because I've never built a front end, so that could be exciting. I keep you updated about it. It's exciting because next week we will have someone joining us. Christian joins us, and he won the AI Hack Night. He built a honk application doing the AI Hack Night. I think he used something, a speech AI thingy with it as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he combines honk with a different AI tool. And I think it's exciting to look into different projects starting this year.
Sweet. All right. Yeah, I'm excited to see. I didn't actually see his original AI Hack Night thing, so I'm excited to kind of like get a tour of that next week. Yeah,
I think it's going to be fun. So I think that's it for today, but I'm looking forward already for next week.
Cool. All right.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye.